Hello and welcome to another episode of Toxic Love Transformation. I'm your host, Stephanie McPhail, and I'm really excited to be able to jump in today because I would say that it's pretty much officially the beginning of the holiday season. You might be saying, no, you're not allowed to say that because it's going to make it snow because you're saying it before actual Thanksgiving happens. But I kind of feel like this year we're allowed to start celebrating just a little bit early. I think everyone's been a little bit stressed out and then, other things in life going on. So we can start celebrating, start talking about the holidays now. And I wanted to do this training because I wanted to start talking about things to prepare you for what's coming up. So this is going to be part one of a 5-week series. The 5-week series is going to be called Holiday Rescue Remedy. So it's all going to be about things related to the holidays, about how to deal, about how to heal, about what you need to do to really prepare yourself for the best response and the best access for you. So tonight's training is going to be about why waiting until after the holidays to end a relationship might actually be hurting you. This is something that I hear all the time. We don't want to end a relationship because of the holidays. I did it, and I know a lot of my clients have done it, and I have a feeling that if you're coming in and watching this today, you might be in a similar position where you know this relationship is not going to last. You know it's not healthy. It doesn't feel right for you, but instead you are staying because you want to wait for the right time because it's the holidays and you don't want to do it now. So here's my question. Are you staying in a relationship that's not working just to get through the holidays? I want to talk about why this decision is not serving you or anyone else involved. Now, I'm going to say this ahead of time. I do acknowledge that this is a difficult conversation. I understand that this is extra stressful, especially if you have kids involved, whether they're little kids still at home or they're kids that are out of the house. I know that the thought of, dismantling the family and not having everybody around, I know all of those things and I understand all of those things. So kudos to you for coming in and hanging out with us. And again, I definitely recommend coming for all 5 of these sessions during the holidays. Really for those people who are saying to themselves, I want to make 2025 a new year for me that starts something different. If you're in a place where you're like, I'm just not really happy with where my life is right now, or I didn't see my life being the way it is right now, this is the time to lean in and really listen. And so, again, tonight's session, just all about why we should not be avoiding ending these relationships. And again, I know this is a difficult conversation, but I definitely recommend leaning into this one and all of the other sessions that we'll have coming up. So the goal of this training is really to provide clarity, to give you some action steps and really help you navigate the holidays while also making sure that you are honoring taking care of your emotional well-being, because it's important for you to take care of yourself. We often put ourselves on the back burner, but that is not going to work out well for us or anyone else really in the long run. So what is the emotional toll of staying in a toxic relationship? So one of the things about why we stay in these unhealthy relationships around the holidays is because we have this societal expectation that we need to keep things picture perfect during the holidays. All the things that you see on Instagram, on Facebook, on Pinterest, and all the things are about, hosting your perfect holiday party. And they're showing pictures of everybody putting up their Christmas trees, putting up, whatever holidays they're celebrating, because I know there's a bunch in December of different holidays, not just Christmas, but all the different holidays that are coming up, and everybody wants to make it look picture perfect and host the perfect parties and all that kind of stuff. So we become really afraid of disrupting the dynamics and the traditions of what we normally do with our family. If you have children, if you have relatives, if you have mutual friends, it's being invited to those parties and trying to put on a face for those parties. It's worrying about whether or not our kids are going to have to be separated between 2 different households for the holidays. It's upsetting our kids around the holidays. And we don't want to have a emotion when it comes to the different holidays or association, negative association when it comes to the holidays. So as women, I think we are extra about worrying about that. We don't want to rock the boat. We don't want to mess it up for anybody else, all the while putting ourselves on the back burner because our needs are still important. And if we're telling ourselves already, and we've known probably for way longer than we'd like to admit that this is not going well, waiting until after the holidays is not really going to be a positive thing for you. It's going to give you increased stress and an emotional strain from pretending that everything is okay. And I remember this so well, being, putting on that face for everyone at the holiday, pretending that everything was okay, all the while worried about how things were going to be when I got home. It really amplifies those feelings of loneliness, resentment, and frustration. I know that we're a lot, and we're going to talk about loneliness in the holidays also. So if this isn't the right conversation for you right now, maybe the conversation is loneliness, which we're going to talk about as part of this series. But, that fear of loneliness. And I'll tell you right now that loneliness is much more increased when you are sitting next to someone who you don't feel heard or seen with. That frustration that you feel, that resentment that you feel is way more when you are actually with someone that you don't feel like you could be yourself. I mean, think about it. The loneliest I ever felt was sitting next to someone that I had nothing to talk about with, because I was afraid that if I said anything, it was going to be taken the wrong way and it was going to be used against me. So, when you are sitting there forcing yourself to sit through a relationship where isn't healthy, that's going to increase all those feelings of loneliness. And of course, staying it's an unhealthy dynamic for the sake of appearances. So if you do have kids at home, then what they're seeing is we pretend to do things in order to make other people happy. And is that what we want to teach our children? Again, whether or not your children are at home, I mean, especially if they're little, do we want to teach them that? But even if they're adults, do we want to show them that it's okay to pretend like everything is okay when in the inside we're dying? Because anyone who ever says that they're protecting their kids and the kids have no idea, I am telling you right now that they very much can feel it. It might be all that they know, so they might not be telling you that they're noticing it. Some of them might be extra, sensory. They might notice all those different things, but there's going to be something about them that can feel that this is not healthy for them. And it might not come out until later, but all the time that we tell ourselves we are protecting our children from the toxicity, they can sense it, they can feel it. They might not be able to put it into words. So waiting doesn't actually make the problems go away. It actually just prolongs your pain and reinforces these unhealthy patterns, and reinforces that those patterns are passed on to your children and other family members. And again, just putting yourself in a really uncomfortable position. So what's the excuse of why we wait until after the holidays? Well, like we said before, number one, we have a fear of ruining the holidays. I don't want to spoil the celebrations for others, as if your celebration of the holiday doesn't matter. Like your joy of the holiday doesn't matter. So we say, I don't want to ruin the holiday for other people. We might have financial or logistical concerns. Like, if I can't leave right now, or if I leave right now, I'm not going to be able to afford it. The holidays are expensive. Where am I going to go in the middle of the holidays? If that's a concern. So some of those things, and they might be real. Those might be things that if we're aware of, we can look up, we can figure out ways to find solutions to those issues. Because if you are open and honest with people that you care about, is there somewhere you could go for the holidays? Could you remove yourself from a toxic situation instead of pretending like everything is okay? I mean, it's something for you to think about. Now, if you're the breadwinner, a lot of our clients are the ones who are making money. That was me. I didn't want to kick him out. I felt bad about kicking him out around the holidays. That was something that I was worried about. Or if I tell him he needs to get out, is he actually going to leave? And so, like, for me, even though it was my house and I was the one making the money, I did find another place to go, but I did make the excuse of waiting until after the holidays to do that. The next one, false hope. Because here's what happens around the holidays. Everyone is acting all acting. I'll just put it like that. They're acting. So you have these two extremes that tend to happen. People pretend like everything is okay. So we start thinking, okay, maybe the holidays are going to bring us closer together. Our family all being together is so beautiful. I love seeing this. They see them in a different light because maybe they're being overly friendly. And you're like, maybe I need to fix things. Maybe I need to change things. So we have this false hope that's there. And then maybe this feeling that maybe things will magically improve during the holidays. But, and so there's that. And then I'll say there's the other part of it is that a lot of the times they will ruin holidays. They will ruin the holidays. So we might have this false hope. We're going in with this hope that maybe they'll get it this time and maybe they'll stop treating me this way. And then when the holiday actually happens and they treat us like crap. I mean, I will tell you, and a little bit of a trigger warning for anyone who's dealt with abuse, but my first husband, I remember very distinctly that we were having Thanksgiving, we're hosting Thanksgiving at our home. His sister was going to come with her son. Her husband was invited too, and her my sister-in-law and my brother-in-law got into a fight, and they called up my husband at the time and said, "We're not going to come to Thanksgiving, or if we do, it's just going to be his sister and their son." And my ex literally hung up the phone and started trashing our house, like literally threw a chair. It like scratched up the ground and tore a hole in the wall, trashing our house. I literally just got up, walked into the garage and said, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe this is my life. I cannot believe that this is my life." But here I was. This was the life and this is what I was staying with. And I still had the hope that things were going to get better. And then my sister in law ended up coming over and I had to sit there and pretend, or I felt like I had to sit there and pretend like everything was okay. That my husband at the time did not trash the house that I had to help clean up before they arrived. So, there's that. And so there's that walking on eggshells and being worried of, are they going to lose their temper or things going to go bad? And then I have to pretend like everything's okay. So you kind of have those two different areas. And then even when things do go super bad, maybe not to the extreme of that, but if things go super bad, still trying to pretend like everything is okay for the family and friends. So again, there's the false hope, but then there's the opposite of, I don't know, like I'm walking on eggshells. I don't really know what I'm going to have to walk into. And then, of course, there's the social and cultural expectations. What will people think of me if I leave now? Will they think I'm a bad mom? Will they think I'm a bad wife if I decide to end this relationship right before the holidays? Does that make me a bad person? And again, as women, we're very aware of society's expectations of us. And we're very aware about how much stress is put on women to make those perfect holidays happen for us. So those societal and cultural expectations are very real as well. So these reasons might feel really valid, but they're the wrong reasons for staying. And again, it leads to deeper emotional consequences for literally everyone involved. Because as you're pretending, you're teaching your kids that it's okay. If you're walking on eggshells, then you're having to giving yourself that extra stress of all of it. So again, keep reminding yourself that putting things off is just prolonging the pain and discomfort that you are feeling, and possibly your children and family and friends that are involved as well. So what are the hidden costs of waiting? Well, there's emotional repercussions. There's the loss of self-trust by ignoring your intuition. Every time we don't act on our intuition starts to say, "Hey, I don't know if I trust myself." And then you're not going to have that intuition as much anymore. So you're not going to be able to trust yourself as much. The more that you ignore it, the more that you're going to not trust yourself. And if we don't trust ourselves, then we're going to lower our self-esteem, which makes us stay even longer. Which of course, and like I said before, it's furthering damaging our confidence, which also includes lowering our self-esteem. So the more times we don't act on following our intuition, the more we prove that we are not trustworthy, and the lower our self-esteem becomes. It impacts other people. The children can see the tension. They see the distressing, the distressment of all of the things that you're feeling. They see that there's no honesty. Hey, adults are not honest. So it's affecting them as well. And then, of course, family and friends are going to be really uncomfortable. Family and friends will notice if you're pretending. You might be able to do it for a little bit, but they're going to come and they're going to feel the energy in the air of that discomfort that's going on, of that strain that's happening. So even though we're trying to make the perfect holiday, other people are going to notice it, whether or not they say something. So then you have to deal with all that on top of it. And really, it's a missed opportunity for healing. So instead of you dealing with the problem now, it's delaying your freedom and it's delaying your healing process. Ending a toxic relationship, even during the holidays, can be the best gift that you give to yourself. It might not feel that way at the time, but it will be, because it allows yourself a new beginning. You don't get to have that new beginning if you are still attached to the old. If you are still hoping that they're going to change and become the person that you've wanted them to be, but they have not been and will not be if we continue to enable them and their bad behavior. Saying that we are putting it off for another time is really just an avoidance technique. Let's be real. We want to avoid the pain of ending that relationship. We want to avoid the pain of making them feel bad, even though we don't seem to care, or put into perspective that they have no problem putting us in pain. So we're avoiding making the big decision. We're avoiding having the big feelings. And we're giving all of these reasons why we need to stay. And I get it. It's scary. It's uncomfortable to choose something new. But like I started this off with, if you would like to have something new for your life where you have a real love, and starting with yourself, but if you have that real love starting for 2025, that new life that you are creating for yourself for 2025, we have to get radically honest with ourselves and realize that the avoidance that we have been having by staying trauma bonded to that relationship, by not making a decision to take care of ourselves, how much that is negatively affecting us. If you want to reframe the holidays as a time for new beginnings, that actually can start getting you more focused. So the power of authenticity is really choosing and honoring your truth. And it actually sets an example for yourself, others, and your children. So every time you honor your truth and you're authentic, then it reiterates that you are deserving. So that does that for you. It sets an example for your children, and it sets an example for other people. It also becomes a time where you can say to yourself, hey, the holidays are a time for me to reclaim my peace and happiness. I do not have to make everybody else happy in the holidays, even though a lot of us feel pressured to. We can make the holidays a time where, hey, I get to be with people that love me. I get to be around people that support me and inspire me and motivate me. Think about this from an authentic perspective, not forcing yourself to go do all the things that you don't want to do because you think you're supposed to do it, but actually doing the things that you want for you. Focusing on your well-being. Prioritize your self-care during this emotionally charged time. I mean, and again, self-care, we talk a lot about self-care in here. It's not about the bubble baths and the glass of wine and all that kind of stuff, although those things are beautiful and amazing, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do them. But when you're prioritizing self-care, that means saying no to things that you do not feel comfortable doing. If it feels overwhelming or it feels like too much, then say something. You don't have to buy a present for everybody in the world. Because if that's going to cost you a lot of money and make you have, frustrations later about paying your bills or being able to leave because it's the holidays, then maybe you don't do that this year. So making sure that you are focusing on your well-being. And then redirect your energy into creating joyful moments that align with your values and needs. Redirect your energy towards going caroling with a group of people or going to a retirement home or, doing things, traveling instead of, and doing something fun instead of traveling to your families. Do something that you really enjoy. So make sure that you're redirecting that energy and create those joyful moments for yourself. And then look at creating those new traditions. Because a lot of times we don't want to end these relationships because of the traditions, but how healthy have those traditions been to begin with? So we want to look at, actually letting go of that toxic dynamic so that you can actually make room to create new, healthier traditions moving forward for yourself. If you are someone that's already ended that relationship, maybe you're still stuck on it. Maybe you're still wondering what they're doing, who they're hanging out with, who they're spending time with. Instead of focusing on that other relationship, what are you doing to make new traditions for yourself? Who are you deciding to spend time with? What traditions are you creating that are yours alone? The holidays can actually mark something beautiful and can actually be the time where you said, hey, this is the time where I made a decision, a conscious decision to do something different, where I decided that I was going to live a life filled with authenticity and joy instead of being fake, instead of pretending like everything was okay. This is the time where I'm going to be real and I'm going to be genuine and I'm going to be honest to myself and others. This could be the moment that you decide to do something different for yourself. So how do you approach this? How do you approach this decision? Again, you're still in the relationship, or maybe you've left and you're feeling stuck. you're feeling, whatever, still feeling connected in that way. But here's what you need to think about. Some of the practical considerations. Assess your safety. I mean, number one, if you are someone who is in a relationship that's abusive, you need to make sure that you are safe. 100% hands down. This is not something to take lightly because obviously your safety is the most important. So, do you need to go to a place that they don't know where you are? Do you need to go somewhere really far away so it'd be hard for them to get there? Do you need to go to a safe house? Do you need to go to a domestic violence shelter? And as much as that might feel terrible around the holidays, I want you to keep in mind, this is a for now, not a forever. This is not like you're always going to live this life. It's just to get you out. If you're getting it, if you're feeling it now, then start making those plans to do that. So start assessing your safety, start making that plan. And, like I have some safety measures in my book, Being Loved Shouldn't Hurt, but some of the things would include like making sure that we're saving money, that we have, maybe we call out or send messages to some of our friends about staying at their place, calling a local domestic violence shelter and finding out about room or whether or not you can stay there. So really getting some of those things on your list. Of course, medications, medical records, things like that, having that available so that you can get out, because the holidays will bring out the worst in some people. The next thing is that financial preparation. So, begin planning for your transition. I've had more than a few people that had stopped working. They got jobs. They started to save some money so they were able to take care of themselves so they could get out. They started putting money to the side. All of those things will be really helpful in helping you to be fully prepared so you don't have to rely on anybody else. And again, if it feels overwhelming to leave because you need to buy everybody and their family a gift, maybe we slow down this year. Maybe we don't buy as many things and we put that money instead to the side to be able to get out and start new for 2025. Create a support system. I mean, again, we talk all the time about having a support system. If you're not sure how to make friends, I am telling you right now that is very possible and actually easier than you'd think to make friends as adults. We just haven't learned how to do it as adults. But you know how two little kids get together and they're like, hey, you want to play? It's kind of the same thing. We just have to go play with the right people, be around the right people that have similar interests as us. So create that support system, whether it's going out and making new friends, because when that toxic, crappy relationship, maybe we lost some people, maybe it's, reaching out to friends. I always say to my clients, reach out to your 3 people that are your go-to. So when things get stressful, you let those people know ahead of time, hey, things are going kind of not so good downhill in my relationship. I'd like to use you as one of my 3 if I'm feeling stressed out or overwhelmed. I want to make sure that you know and are okay with me reaching out to you. Is that okay with you? So that could be a part of your support system. And of course, your support system could also be like David and I as coaches. You could have your therapists. Start looking at who your support system would be and what that would look like. Sorry, there's so much stuff. There's so much stuff to go through. The next one is really navigating the conversation. So you want to choose the appropriate time and place. Now, as you decide to make that decision about ending that relationship, you want to make sure that you're safe. So if you need to leave a note and be gone when they get it, then so be it. If it needs to be a text message, be it. I don't really care. People feel badly about ending things without being face to face. But if you're going to fall back because you have not, or backslide is the word I was looking for. If you're going to backslide because you see them, then maybe you can't see them face to face. Maybe you need to end it in a text message or a letter to be able to not have to see them face to face. If you're worried about your safety, then you definitely don't want to be there when you tell them that you're ending the relationship. If you are face to face with them, then you want to focus on what's best for you. This is about me. This is how I feel. I cannot move on with this. Be compassionate, but be firm in your decision. Don't waffle. Like not, hey, if you change now, because if they would have wanted to change, they would have done it already. So making sure that you're not blaming, you're not starting a conflict, you're just literally letting them know that you don't want to continue this relationship and let them know what your plan is. And then, of course, you want to consider getting, professional guidance. So professional coaching, like myself and David, get therapy, but you're going to want to have some support to deal with the emotional and practical challenges of making all these big changes. So, the decision to end a relationship is never easy, but it's the first step toward reclaiming your peace and power. So, if you want that peace and power back, or maybe you've never had it before, this is the first step in getting there. And you want to do it in a way that's going to make sure that you are successful. You might not know yet what success looks like, but making sure that you have the right people on your team will help you to be successful in ending this relationship once and for all, especially if you've been trauma bonded to them. That's something that we deal with literally every day with our clients. It's one of our specialties, is helping break those trauma bonds. I get it. It's literally like an addiction. And so if you're feeling that pull still in that past relationship, definitely make sure that you're reaching out and getting help. I don't care if it's for me, just make sure that you're getting help and supporting you with that. You want to be able to move forward with confidence. So start embracing the future. Focus on what you're gaining. Get that freedom and clarity and give yourself the opportunity to heal. Don't look at what you're losing. You're not losing your family. You're not losing your relationship. You are gaining your freedom to create the life that you want for yourself. You can start envisioning the holidays as your turning point rather than your stumbling block. Change the way that you are looking at the fact that you have ended this relationship. The end is really just the new beginning of the next chapter of your life. It's focusing on something moving you forward. You want to start really building a new narrative. Affirm your decision. Have those affirmations of, I deserve a life with peace and authenticity. Or, by honoring my truth, I create space for healing and joy. Another one might be, this decision is a gift to myself and those I love. So start telling yourself those things, because instead of saying, again, it's so often, it's like, I'm focusing on ending the relationship and my kids having to go to 2 different homes and all these different negative things. But instead, if we could focus on those positive ones, it'll help us take those big, hard steps to move forward so that we can actually create that next chapter for ourselves. And, and something else to really think about is setting some boundaries. Is that if you are with people like your friends, your family, that are your go-to people, let them know that you maybe don't want to talk about it, or let them know you'll bring it up to them if you feel like talking about it. Or if you're ending the relationship with this person, what is going to be your boundary about how you're going to see them in the holidays? How is that going to work for you? So, start thinking about, and boundaries are for ourselves. So we need to decide that for ourselves. How is it going to be? Are you going to see them? Are you going to tell friends and family that you don't want to talk about it, or you don't want your ex or soon to be ex to be brought up? How is that going to look? And if you need any, ideas of how that looks, you can always reach out to me also. And then start thinking about some new rituals to mark your transition. You want to celebrate all of these wins, all of these moves that you're making, so that you can actually keep going. We always talk about celebrating your wins, because as you start celebrating, you start pushing yourself forward even when it feels really tough. So start thinking about what are some of the new things that you will do as you start this transition, and how will your life be? Again, it might be hard to imagine before you go through it, but think big, be creative, think about the possibilities of what could be, and kind of focus on that. I always say it's that tiny glimmer of hope that maybe things can be different. Start being creative of what life can be, because you've already seen what it is. And if you loved it, you wouldn't be thinking about ending things right now. Ending a toxic relationship isn't the end of the story. It's actually the beginning of your next chapter filled with hope and possibility. This is your chance to stop complaining about life, stop wishing this was somebody else's life, stop going to bed wishing that someone would come and swoop you off your feet and take you away and fix everything for you, and realize you get to have the power to create something new and different for yourself. That power is within you. And you are the one that lives with yourself every day. You are the one who has been there through all of the moments of your life, and you will continue to be the one that takes care of you. So how will you take care of you for this holiday, for this season that is starting? Will it be to create something new, or is it going to be to keep surviving in what you already have? Because surviving is not really the greatest way to live, because we can't do all those beautiful, wonderful things we were put here to do if we are in survival mode. So we need to get out of that survival mode and start thriving by looking at how we are going to pull ourselves to move ourselves forward. It's okay to prioritize your happiness, even if it's at the holidays, even if people aren't happy with you because you prioritize your happiness. It's okay. And, keep in mind that support is available. It's not like you have to do this all completely on your own. So here's what I want you to kind of leave with today. I want you to think about your own situation. And I want you can put it in the comments if you'd like. You can write it down for yourself. But I want you to start thinking about what is the first step that you can take today to start living authentically, to stop saying you're going to do the things and not doing it, and instead actually living authentically, saying no to the things that you don't want to do, saying yes to the possibilities of creating something new and different for yourself. What is going to be your first step after listening and watching this today? Because this is the way to start the momentum, is to just commit and then take that first step to creating something new for yourself. And that's where the exciting stuff starts to happen. As always, you are more than welcome to reach out to me. You can always send a text message to me at 631-317-4027. Or you can send me a private message, whatever works best for you or is easiest for you, makes you the most comfortable, whether or not we decide to work together. Because we really, our 12-week program is really for the people who are ready to take action and they know they need to make a change. They're just not sure where to start. That's definitely, a great group for you. We also have some other stuff available to you to support you no matter where you are in your healing. So let's chat. And if there's anything I can do to just point you in the right direction, we can do that too. So don't feel badly about reaching out, asking me questions. It's what I'm here for. I love being able to help people create their best lives. Always. That's why I do this, because I know the excuses that we make that keeps us from creating something amazing for ourselves. And if I can help you get out of your own head for even a minute to start thinking differently and creating differently for yourself so that you can go out there and do all those amazing things, then that's what I'd love to be able to do. So on that note, let me just remind you that you deserve peace, joy, and love. You deserve it. You do wonderful things for other people. You deserve to have someone that takes care of you, and that starts by you taking care of you. This isn't just at the holidays, but every single day. It starts with the courage for you to honor your truth, for you to honor you. So I hope this was helpful to everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I always love spending time with you. And never forget, you are way stronger than you realize. See you next episode. Bye, everybody.